Hey Logan, this is Mrs. Skogland. Just wanted to give you a little feedback on your summer assignment. Mostly what we're going to talk through in the video is your Chapter 9 questions, since that was the one that you starred, but I will sort of reference some other questions throughout the video as well. All right, so starting off, the first thing that I look for in a body paragraph structure, which is what these L-directed paragraphs are, is a topic sentence. And ideally, we want that to be your first sentence that really answers the question so that I know what's coming in the paragraph. I think you had some pretty good topic sentences, Logan. Like, I like this one, how you clearly explain the comparison of a labyrinth to finding meaning in life. The only thing I wished maybe you had had a little more of is how's this different from a maze? So just make sure that you're answering all parts of the question, but I definitely think you were on the right track. Next, I look actually at the end of your paragraph for a concluding sentence because we want that to also tie back to the question to sort of signal to the reader that the paragraph is ending. This paragraph, Logan, didn't seem to have a concluding sentence, and so I did look at some of your other L-directed paragraphs, and I think, like, occasionally you had some, like here, but sometimes they were a little bit vague, like I couldn't quite tell them apart from your commentary. So I think that would be a good revision for you to make, is just to make sure that you have a distinct conclusion that summarizes, or concluding sentence rather, that summarizes what you've said in the paragraph. All right, next I looked at evidence, and I liked your selection of evidence. So like here you explained the effects of a labyrinth, and then here the purpose. So I thought that was really nice because it really differentiated those pieces of evidence, and you did that in some other paragraphs as well. In terms of embedding evidence or how you're integrating it, I think there are moments when you're super close, like this one, walking a labyrinth saying I didn't have to pay attention. If you just add a comma there, that would be perfect, and your introduction would flow really nicely in with the quote. However, there were some other times, Logan, where I noticed you almost had like the meaning is not frantic or about the end goal, and there should be a period there, and then the quote is a sentence on its own. And we don't really ever want that because since this is your writing, we want you to even just have like a little lead in, like up here to the quote. So maybe just going back and making sure that you do have those smooth introductions and the quotes aren't just like on their own. Next, I looked at commentary, and I think you have some really great moments with commentary, Logan. So especially like with this quote where you're talking about the effect of a labyrinth, I really like how you contrast that with a maze here, and I think you had a great explanation where the goals are so different. So I liked that you weren't just repeating the quote there and you were really explaining it. However, there were some times, like here you can see you don't really have that much commentary after this quote. And even in other paragraphs where you did have commentary, like I think I'm going to look at two, you can see this one just kind of goes right into what I think is maybe kind of a concluding sentence. So I would just encourage you to make some revisions and really make sure that each quote has a distinct piece of commentary, because that's your analysis, right? So that's where you have to walk me through why this quote answers the question. So I would just spend some time there really making those distinct and making sure you've got commentary. All right, finally I looked at your conventions and citations. So conventions looked really good for the most part, Logan. Like I noticed some very minor like phrasing and punctuation issues, but overall very easy to read. Citations were perfect, so good job there. And then I thought your R-directed activities looked good as well. I was looking at this one in particular on story in this TED Talk that you watched, and I thought it was interesting that you found a TED Talk that you felt like didn't actually use storytelling effectively, and how that made the TED Talk maybe not as interesting. So I think that's a great lesson for us all to kind of keep in mind. Anyway, just wanted to give you some feedback.